few NBA teams have already started and had their media days with training camps right around the corner. On today's episode, me and JB are going to play buy or sell with the contenders in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. We're going to get into all that and more. But first, we got to play the intro.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
All right, basketball fans, welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm Haize, but we are joined by my brother, JB's in the building, man. What's going on, Jay? It's been like a year since you've been on the show, bro.
What's going on, Haize? I know, man, but hey, at least I'm still around more than Zach LaVine, right?
Barely, just more than Lonzo Ball. I don't know exactly. Yeah, it is what it is, but definitely more than Lonzo Ball. But with that said, man, we're gonna play buy or sell. Really simple today with contenders in the Eastern and Western Conference. 4 each. Does not mean other teams can't become contenders, but we're just limited to 4 today. You want to start off in the West or you want to start off in the East, JB?
Let's start off in the East because I think it's pretty simple.
All right. So in the East, at the top, the Boston Celtics. Buy or sell them being contenders next season for the NBA title.
I mean, as much as I don't like to say they're clearly contenders, I mean, they're defending champs. They're running it back. They didn't lose any major pieces. Tatum, Brown, Porzingis. I mean, Al Horford's like 200 years old and still balling out. You got to put him in a contender. I don't see anyone make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they're definitely a contender to win the championship and run it back.
All right, so you're buying it. Are you buying it high? I'm buying it high,
and it pains me to say that as a Knicks fan, but it is what it is. I am buying high.
Okay, fair enough. All right, yeah, I hate the Celtics too. Let's get to your team next though. The New York Knicks, 50 wins last season. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein. Mitchell Robinson may not be healthy to start the season off, which means they could leave Julius Randle playing some small ball center there. Tom Thibodeau have already talked a little bit about that. Do you buy or sell the New York Knicks as a contender to win the NBA title next year?
Man, if we won 10 games last season, I'm going to buy Knicks all day. True blue and orange, bro. But the thing is, we do have issues. Like you mentioned, Mitch is out to start the season. This was a major issue that Leon Rose, I think, made a mistake. Leon Rose has a lot of haters, and I'm not one of them, but I really feel that we should have went with iHeart, and they let iHeart go. And I mean, as much as I love Mitch, the man is made out of glass. He gets injured all the time. And if we don't find a big man, because small ball will only work up until a certain point, we need a big man. We need someone that can defend inside. We need someone that can block. Someone that can rebound. We have Josh Hart, one of the best rebounding guards in the league. Julius Randle's always good for a double-double, but we need that guy in there. Honestly, if we didn't lose iHeart, I would be calling right now Knicks' favorites to win the championship this year. Mm-hmm. But we need to find a big piece. At the end of the day, though, I still think they're a contender. Tom Thibodeau is a very smart coach. You know that he coached for the Bulls. I think they're absolutely contenders, 100%, especially in an East that I think is going to be fairly weak this season.
Yeah, the one thing that I look at it with this is the one thing that causes me, well, two things that cause me concern. The center position does cause me some concern, but I think they're going to be so good at perimeter defense. Like, you just look at the perimeter players they're going to be able to throw out there defensively between OG, between who am I missing for? Hart. And then as well as now having Mikal Bridges out there. Like, you just have so many versatile pieces that on that New York Knicks team that you can just throw all the way around on that perimeter that they could try to weather that enough, especially in the league where three-point shooting is at a premium. But one of the things that caused me a lot of concern is they have one player that can create on ball, and that's Jalen Brunson. Now, Julius Randle has done a little bit of that over the course of his career, but like, you have one on-ball creator. So that throws a little bit of concern there, but to me, I absolutely have to buy the New York Knicks. Like I've said it before, not just because you're my friend, but the Knicks, I gotta respect the way that the Knicks have added to this team each year. They've gone out there and been aggressive. I would have kept Isaiah Hartenstein, but it is what it is. You gotta make room somehow. So
absolutely, and what you're saying is absolutely true. Brunson is the only guy that can do that. However, when you have guys like Julius Randle, you have sharpshooters like Devo, like Deuce McBride. Now they added Mikal. Maybe one is all we need, really.
Maybe. You're right.
And he's as great as a scorer he is, he's a great facilitator of the ball as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Next up, the Milwaukee Bucks. How do you feel about them? I'm gonna bury the lead here. I'm selling. I don't believe the Bucks can win the championship. I think the Bucks are gonna win a lot of regular season games. They may even make it to the second round of the playoffs. I just don't think that team has the defense. I think when you look at like even Chris Middleton getting older, seems like they don't trust Bobby Portis as much as they did in prior years as well. Brooke Lopez, it's getting older and longer in the tooth. I think they're going to win a lot of games, but as far this is buyer selling them as championship contenders, I'm selling it all day long. How about you, JB?
I actually thought we were going to have a heated debate on this one because I'm 100% selling as well. I'm with you. I think they have a strong season. The problem is when it comes to the playoffs and winning a title, durability is a real thing. And with Giannis's injuries, Dame is just cursed. He's not destined to win a title. He's my second. It's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Dame is my second favorite non-Nick player, and Giannis is my favorite non-Nick player. And I just think Dame is cursed at this point. Like you said, Bobby Portis, there's only so much he can do. Brooke Lopez, there's been rumors he might leave. And the biggest piece that they're missing versus their championship run is Chris Middleton is not that same guy. If Chris Middleton was able to take his game up a notch or two back to when they had that championship run, I believe they're very strong contenders. But I don't see it happening. And I don't even know if these guys stay healthy. If they stay healthy, Giannis and Dame, they've won about 70% of their games while both playing together. So they can definitely do some damage. But when it comes to the playoffs, we're talking about durability and all these other factors. I just don't see it. So it's a big sell for me.
All right, fair enough there. Fair enough. The last team in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers, this is a team that's re-signed basically everybody on the core. They have them locked in. If they do need to move those guys, they sit in a pretty good position to be able to recoup some assets because they're all locked into long-term contracts at this point. But do you think the Cavs can win a title this year? Are you buying or selling them as a contender to win the title?
100% selling. The team is just not there. They're missing, they have some young talent. Also, they just don't have the pieces that you need to win a title. And, I know a lot of people were big on them last season, and we saw what they did. And I think this year's going to be more of the same. Are they going to make the playoffs? Absolutely. They have enough talent to make the playoffs. I don't even know if they can get out of the first round.
Man, so in looking at this and preparing for this, I looked at it and said, like, I do think if Evan Mobley makes a leap, and I mean a leap this season, then I can see them being a contender. But that's the one window is Darius Garland and or Evan Mobley making serious leaps this year. I don't think Darius Garland can make that leap while he's in the backcourt with Donovan Mitchell. I just don't think that. So it leaves Evan Mobley. And I don't think that that's enough for me to try to buy a team's chances to win. If you're looking at it and saying, hey, this 23-year-old player, if this player can make a leap offensively and defensively in year 4, that's going to lead you to championship. I had to sell it in that case. That's the only realistic route that I could see it happening. And so because of that, I'm selling the Cavs. I do think much like the Bucks are going to win some regular season games. They're going to make the playoffs. That's not a question at all here. They're going to be one of the more talented teams in the Eastern Conference, but I just don't see them having the depth, the execution, the defense enough to win a title. I just don't see it.
Do you see them as a top 4 Eastern team? Keep in mind, we haven't talked about Philly.
That's what I was going to, as a dark horse, are you buying or selling Philly as a championship contender? Because I'll buy them as a contender to maybe make an ECF. We haven't ever seen freaking Joel Embiid in the second round, but I think if that team stays healthy, I can see them pushing and being a candidate to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if I'll buy them making winning a title yet, though. What are you thinking, man?
No, I definitely don't buy them winning a title, but I mean, Maxey played absolutely stupid last year. Like, if he can play that same way he played last year, especially in the playoffs, or even take it up a notch, that is huge, not only for next season, but just for the future of the franchise. Of course, you have Embiid. Embiid is always going to be in the MVP talk. Major problem with the 76ers, though, is they picked up PG this season. PG is not the healthiest guy. He gets injured a lot. Embiid himself gets injured a lot. I love that they picked up Caleb Martin. He's a nice piece for them. I do think they finish better than the Cavs. Absolutely, I do. I just don't see them as a contender, though. Not when you have the Celtics and the Knicks. I don't even think they finish above Milwaukee in the season. I see them as like a 4 seed. I see Cavs as a 5 seed. But yeah, I just don't see them contending. I really don't.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. As something just to throw in here before we move on to the Western Conference, as far as with the Cavs, I think that I don't know if the Cavs, depending on how they and where they match up, if they end up being like that 4-5 matchup or something like that, I don't know if the Cavs can get past the Orlando Magic next season. To be honest with
Or Orlando Magic is a nice up and coming team, with
you, yeah.
Bunkero and everything. They'll definitely gonna be fun to watch for sure.
All right, let's move on to the Western Conference. JB, start off with the OKC Thunder. Are you buying or selling them as championship contenders next year?
I am not only am I strong buying them, they're my pick to win the title next year. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Knicks, but they're my pick. I mean, SGA was arguably in the MVP debate last season.
Mhm.
In addition to what they did, the fact that they picked up iHeart and Quentin Grimes is amazing. We talked about iHeart already. A great defender. He can score. Now they have Quentin Grimes, who's also a great defender, can shoot the three ball, great perimeter shooter.
Mhm.
That's some major pieces that they picked. I think they are going to be, even though the odds don't say it, I like them to win the title this year. I think SGA has more experience now, and I think they're going to be brutal to beat in a seven game series. I really do.
Yeah, I know you said Quentin Grimes and you pointed out him in Hartenstein, but I think you're overlooking one as well, Alex Caruso.
Najee. Oh,
Alex
oh,
Caruso.
wait. Are you sure? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I have it in
yeah.
my notes. Alex Caruso. I've always loved Alex Caruso. I just think he's one of those guys that just hustles hard, and he can hit shots, and his defense is great. That was also a very very big pickup. Absolutely. So with those pieces they picked up, how could you not have them at least in your top three to win a title?
Yeah, and I mean the OKC Thunder, they added to their strengths while eliminating some of their weaknesses. Like Josh Giddey, I'm not as down on Josh Giddey as some people are, but one thing, he wasn't a great defender. You add in a great on-ball defender that can guard 1 through 4. Then on top of that, Alex Caruso almost led the league in deflections the last 2 years. The OKC Thunder as a team were second in deflections. What are they also? The OKC Thunder were eighth in pace last year. So adding Alex Caruso, who strengthens their ability to get deflections within the league to more fast break points, and he's a solid finisher around the rim, and he had his best three-point shooting season last year. I think adding Caruso, adding Isaiah Hartenstein, you've strengthened up two key positions and two key roles for yourself. Then I definitely buy them as championship contenders next season. The OKC Thunder.
Yeah, I do want to apologize. Actually, they didn't. I made a mistake. They didn't sign Quentin Grimes.
Yeah,
It was
that was
Dallas.
Dallas, right? Yeah.
Yes. Nevertheless, though, I still strongly buy them. Even without Quentin Grimes, like you said, the Air Zero week and they strengthen up. So for sure, buy them even without Quentin Grimes. My mistake on that.
All right, no problem, no problem. Next up, the Denver Nuggets, 57 wins last year, just like the OKC Thunder. This is a team that's lost some key role players over the last few years. Bruce Brown first, then they lose KCP. They added Russell Westbrook, but this bench doesn't have the same punch that it had at one point in time. You do have the two-time MVP Nikola Jokic there. Do you buy or sell the Denver Nuggets as championship contenders?
So I know I'm probably going to catch shit for this, but I'm selling. I understand 99.9% of the time, Jokic is going to be the best player on the floor. However, the key thing you just said there is they lost a lot of role players. Losing KCP is going to be a lot bigger than they thought. They added Russell Westbrook. That means absolutely nothing to me. And the thing is, Jamal Murray is so streaky. Like it's not someone that you can consistently say, "Hey, listen, I can depend on him for 48 minutes a game throughout every single game." He can get streaky, and as good as Jokic is, I just don't like with Mavericks and with OKC strengthening up in the West. It's going to be a tall order for them to get out of the West. So, I get it. The Nuggets are strong. A lot of people picking them to win the title. I just don't see it in this league the way this league is now. You need role players to win games, and if you don't think that's true, give LeBron James a tweet, and he'll tell you how badly it's important.
Yeah, role players are important. Role players are hugely important, and I think this is still going to be a very talented team. And maybe Jokic and players step up. Jamal Murray, who just got his deal as well. Maybe they step up and they can push to do it, kind of like Golden State won that title when people were counting them out. Maybe it's something like that. But I just think you look at this team, and the other teams in this conference have so much depth that I just don't know if the Denver Nuggets are going to have enough to win a title. So I'm also going to sell on the Denver Nuggets, which leads us to our next team. The Minnesota Timberwolves, young and upcoming team, 56 wins last year. Didn't really make a whole lot of changes there. They did draft some players that I really like and think could absolutely help this roster a lot. In Terrence Shannon Jr., I think he's going to help a lot. Rob Dillingham in the wings to take over as that point guard role going forward. I like a lot of the depth that they have here. Are you buying the Minnesota Timberwolves as a contender to win the title next season?
I'm going to go ahead and buy them for sure.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards is a great young player. I think a couple years ago, you asked anybody who's going to be the future of the league, they would have told you Zion. Obviously, that's not the case. I think a lot of people are looking at Anthony Edwards as that guy. And I think as great as he did last year, he's going to take another step forward again this year. And with their pieces that they already have, you cannot say they're not going to be a contender. They just have the right pieces. They have the right guys. They're, a young team. I 100% think they have a legitimate shot.
I as well. I think they have a legitimate shot to win the title next year. I think that they added a lot of things that they needed. I know he's a rookie, and I don't tend to like to put a lot on rookies, but Terrence Shannon Jr., if nothing else, he can outright score the ball. Having somebody, even if he comes in at 12 or has like a what's the guy on Memphis last year, the rookie that really stepped up? I liked him a lot. GG Jackson, if he can have that type of impact for this Minnesota Timberwolves team coming off the bench, that could be huge for them needing a secondary scorer. Karl Anthony Towns was so good at times for them last year as well, stepping up when they needed. And Naz Reid. Naz Reid is such a luxury for this team as well that I don't think you could not reign in sixth man of the year. I'm buying the Minnesota Timberwolves. And honestly, next to the OKC Thunder, they may be my favorite to win a title. If any team out the Western Conference win the title, they may be my favorite pick there.
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. They're definitely going to be a contender. I wouldn't have them after OKC. The team I have after OKC is the next team we're about to talk about.
We can get into that. The Dallas Mavericks, man. 50 wins last season. They added Klay Thompson to this team, who he's stepping into, even if he's just better than Tim Hardaway Jr., which he will be. That adds so much to that team. They did lose Derrick Jones Jr., who I think was a really important acquisition for them last year, especially with his versatility defensively and hitting some big shots. They still got Derek Lively, a rookie who stepped up for them last year. They added Najee Marshall. How you feeling about this team, brother?
I feel amazing about this team. This is the team that added Quentin Grimes. And like you mentioned, they added Klay Thompson. Both of those guys, great defenders. I get it. Klay Thompson is not that dude that's going to drop 40 points. And like he did some of the things when he was in his peak in Golden State, but the dude can still play. Definitely a step up from Tim Hardaway Jr. Mm-hmm. So he can go off at any night. Quentin Grimes has showed what he can do with the Knicks. And, they still have Kyrie, one of the top players in the league, and they have Doncic again, probably, when he's on it, he could easily be a top five, if not already a top five in the league. So I think this team's going to go very far. A lot of people said it was a fluke that they went to the finals last season. I don't believe so. I think this team has depth. I like them. The major thing is Kyrie going to stay healthy? Is Luka going to stay healthy? If they can do that, I would absolutely love to see OKC and them in a Western Conference Finals, and because I think the winner of that probably will win the whole thing. Honestly, I don't see Boston beating either of those two teams. Quite honestly,
really? Okay, we'll see. The Dallas Mavericks are a team that I can see going to NBA championship next year. We'll go into the finals next year. As far as winning, I like them adding Klay. I like Klay for that team a whole lot, actually, probably more than what some people do. And I think you're replacing Tim Hardaway Jr. with just a better player outright. If Derek Lively makes a step up, in which you saw it over the playoffs last year, like over the course of that season, he got better month to month, basically every single month, and just his understanding of what his role is going to be. And he has such a simplified role where they don't need to rely on his scoring a whole lot. I really like the makeup of this team. The one thing that I worry about is that I personally still have the OKC Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves ahead of them. But you can't deny the talent. Luka and Kyrie Irving. It's hard to count those guys out, man.
No, 100%. So the West is definitely going to get interesting. I think a lot more interesting than the East is. Yeah. So I just cannot wait. I think we're about a week or two away from preseason, and then another couple weeks after that was towards the end of October, season starts. But I do have a question before we wrap up. Okay. I know we talked about a lot of teams, but who's a out of left field team?
Well, I was going to say that since we brought up the Philadelphia 76ers as like a fifth team, I was going to bring up, because I do think this team is a dark horse depending on if they can stay healthy. The Memphis Grizzlies. And I think people are forgetting how good the Memphis Grizzlies were before That's bro. You can say you. I listen.
No, no. The reason I'm shaking my head is because that's exactly who I have.
Really, the Memphis, like, and I think people are just over, and I understand why. But like, if Ja Morant comes, and as much as I'm not high on Zach Edey as a center in this league going forward, he went to the one team that doesn't need him to do anything but be him. And if Zach Edey rebounds, blocks shots, and plays well next to Jaren Jackson Jr., listen, that team got basically exactly what they needed at the center position. And Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, when those three guys are on the court together, they're special. It's the sum of the parts with those guys. I really like this Memphis Grizzlies team.
100%. And they're a long shot. No one's even talking about them. No one's even looking at them. But again, you talked about Bain. You talked about Zach Edey coming over. And John Morant, when he's healthy and he's playing, he's easily a top 5. People forget that this man can absolutely ball out. If John Morant can stay healthy and keep his gun in the holster, the Grizzlies could be a dark horse to go far and even win this whole thing. Because when John Morant gets hot, he's like, you can't defend him. It's impossible.
Yeah. I agree with you. 100% agree. That's funny. That's why we're brothers, because like that's funny that you add the Memphis Grizzlies too. Because I think the world of the Memphis Grizzlies when they're fully healthy, and they got to stay healthy. I know Gigi Jackson, a player that surprised for them, I think is going to start off that season injured. But other than that, man, I like their starting lineup, the balance that they have when they're together. I like some of their bench as well. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to surprise a lot of teams next year for sure.
100%. How pissed off are Suns and Lakers fans going to be that we didn't even mention?
I mean, fuck the Suns and the Lakers, bro.
100%.
Fuck
KD, fuck LeBron.
Bro, I have no faith in those teams at all, bro. Like none.
Agreed.
Fuck them. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. My brother JB is back. You're going to see his face on a more permanent basis around here, man. Appreciate having him around. So make sure you guys show him some love in the comment section as well. But we up out of here. We'll see you guys the next time we feel like making a video. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.